Pouring rain this morning, but time to pack up and start heading back south. The road trip's been fun. It's not over yet. We're heading to Glasgow today, hopefully checking out a couple sites along the way. Let's roll. We've been driving all day and it's just been a ton of traffic, way too much traffic, so it's taken us like 2 hours longer than we expected. We're in Fort William, so Ben Nevis, which is like one of the most famous mountains in all of Scotland, is somewhere around here, maybe up there, I don't really know. But it's been pouring rain and it just stopped for a minute. I wanted to photograph these waterfalls over in the Glencoe area, which is just down there. It's meant to be beautiful in that national park, but it's pouring rain everywhere except for this spot, so I don't know if that's gonna happen. We just passed Glencoe and we're in this valley and it's unreal in here. It's one of those places that if I have time through Scotland again, I need to come back to. So cool. I want to show you guys something, so I'm gonna flip the camera around. Look up at this mountain and all the waterfalls. All of those are waterfalls. Waterfall, 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 waterfall. We made it here to Glasgow last night. I didn't really film yesterday, the drive, because it poured rain the whole way and we didn't really stop because it poured rain the whole way. I'm gonna do that Q&A today that I've been promising, so I think we're just gonna continue the drive down to London. So some drive footage coming up and then we'll get into that Q&A once I get back to London. What's up guys, I'm back in London. It was such a good trip to Scotland. I mean, unbelievable. Even though it rained a lot, and even though we really only shot 4 or 5 times, just came back with so many cool images, and it just kind of filled me with desire to spend like a month in Scotland. And Isle of Skye was crazy. It was so good, but it was also so packed with tourists. I think that I'd like to maybe go somewhere else in Scotland, maybe farther north. Before I jump into this question and answer, and I've been planning on doing this question and answer for ages, but I kind of just got distracted. So I'm sorry that it's a little bit late, and also sorry that I didn't film coming down. It just poured rain, and I really had like episodes planned in Glasgow and beyond, but I was tired and it was rainy and we just decided to push on. So Q&A instead. And before I jump into the Q&A, I just want to mention 3 things. First of all, Glasgow is awesome. I spent a lot of time in Glasgow like 4 years ago when I first visited Scotland and loved it. At the time, I actually liked it more than Edinburgh. It was definitely my favorite, and I'm not sure it would still be the case if I spent more time in Glasgow, but I want you guys to know that. I know there's a lot of Glaswegians that watch this video, watch this channel, and they might be a little bit sad or upset that I didn't shoot the city and show off the city. I want you guys to know that I will be back, and I love the city. So don't be mad, I'm sorry. Second of all, I want to announce Live Friday, and we had our first Live Friday this past Friday, but obviously I haven't let you guys know about it. Basically, the idea behind Live Friday is I kind of wanted a day off, or at least a day off from vlogging, and a day that I can kind of do something a little bit dynamic and different. And with all these opportunities now to do live video, I thought it'd be really cool to one day a week do a live video. So essentially, Live Friday is gonna have 4 different styles of video. There's gonna be Facebook Live, which will be like question and answer style, and I'm gonna try to do that once a month. There's gonna be Instagram Live. Instagram Live is gonna be like an out in the field photo tutorial. So I'll be out in the field shooting images, taking pictures, and I'll literally throw on live on Instagram and show you guys how I'm shooting and what I'm shooting, and basically do a live photo tutorial. I think it'll be cool. And then of course there's YouTube Live. Once a month I'm gonna try to do a YouTube Live on a Friday. And when I try to do those YouTube Lives, I really wanna bring on like another photographer, another traveler, or somebody and kind of do it like podcast style, where I sit, we answer question and answers, we we discuss, we ask each other questions, and kind of turn it into like a podcast live, almost like television show or radio show, where we have like a lot of interaction with you guys, questions that you guys send, and then the questions we give to each other. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So once a month I'll try to do that. You know, within reason, if it's possible. And then the fourth thing is Periscope. I know a lot of you guys think Periscope is dead, but I think it's still kind of cool. I really like Periscope, actually. And when I do a Periscope live, what I'll be doing is like taking you on a tour somewhere. So if I do a Periscope live, it'll be like, hey, I'm at Tower Bridge. I just want to show you guys around. These lives, the Friday lives, will always be scheduled. So it's not like I'm just going to randomly pop up live sometime on a Friday. I'll let you guys know when I'm going to be doing them. The best way to keep track of when I'm doing those lives is to check out my Twitter feed. On my Twitter, I'm always really active and telling you guys when I'm doing things and stuff like that. Another great way is joining my Facebook community, and I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. But my Facebook community is really cool. I think it's really fun and interactive. We do things like photo critiques, we do things like Instagram sharing, and yeah, I think we do some really fun stuff, some photo contests and stuff there as well. So join that community if you want up-to-date information and to, yeah, just join that community. Okay, now that that housekeeping is like done, let's jump into the Q&As. I'm gonna paraphrase the questions because I think it just works better. What do you like more about your career, photography or travel? I get asked this a lot, and I think the answer is travel. I think that it comes down to, if you were to say, Brendan, you can either shoot photos the rest of your life and not travel, or travel the rest of your life and not shoot photos, what would you do? And I think I would take travel and not take pictures. I started photography because I wanted to like have a means to travel the world for a living. And photography was kind of that means. And I don't want to make it sound like it's a means to an end. Like, I hate shooting photos, I just do it because I want to travel. I love shooting photos, and I'd be devastated if I had to stop shooting photos, but travel's my real passion. Travel's what I love doing, and I'd be like crushed if I couldn't travel anymore. That would be really heartbreaking to me. I love the symbioticness of travel and photography. I love being able to capture the world as I see it and as my imagination sees it when I'm out in the world. So I love the two together, and I'd just be devastated if I couldn't do either of them in conjunction. But I think the answer to that question is photography versus travel. Probably travel. I asked for questions about Kyrgyzstan. This is the first of the Kyrgyzstan questions. How did you find your Kyrgyzstan assignment, and what were the deliverables? If you guys have been following the channel a lot, you remember I was at a conference called ITB in March, and that's basically a travel conference, I think the biggest travel conference in the world. And a lot of people in the industry go to these conferences, have meetings with tourism boards and travel companies and airlines and stuff like that to try to secure work for the next year. That's where I got the Kyrgyzstan assignment. I had a meeting with the Kyrgyzstan people. They knew of me from before, from networking before, and from following my feeds before. And so I had a bit of a rapport with them before. A lot of travel photographers find their work through pitching. A lot of them just get pitched projects via email. That happens a lot as well. I find that this conference, ITB, and related conferences like WTM in London just are the best place to find work as a travel photographer. You go to these conferences, you pitch, you work hard, and you can find work for an entire year. Question number 3, and there's going to be 11 questions in this Q&A. A bit of a long Q&A, but I got the time. Hopefully you got the time too. If somebody was planning a trip to Kyrgyzstan and they only had a week, what would you recommend? I would recommend picking a location and exploring it. Head to Karakol and spend a lot of time there, or spend some time along Issyk Lake, or head down to Osh and explore. If you just pinpoint a region in the country, there's lots to do no matter where you are, whether you're in Bishkek or Issyk or Karakol or Osh. Pick a region. There's lots of hiking to do. You can do single day trips, or you can do multi-day trips. There's always culture around. There's always food around. So yeah, I just pinpoint a region and then get a little bit of diversity. Next question's from Rob Williams, and it's a gear related question that I get asked a lot recently. And the question is, you were planning on upgrading to the 6D Mark II. It's been getting bad reviews. Are you still planning on doing that? The answer is, I don't know. That's the truth. And I don't think it's related to the bad reviews. Yes, the reviews are kind of scaring me off. The 6D Mark II is doing everything I want it to do. It's got the flip out screen, which I really miss. It's got 4K time lapse. It's got a great time lapse setup in general. It's got the dual pixel autofocus that I really want as well. It does everything right except for dynamic range. And that's a little bit of a mistake on Canon's part because they wanted to punch out the megapixels, and more megapixels to the size of the sensor tends to mean that you don't have as much dynamic range at low ISOs like ISO 100. And that kind of bothers me a little bit. Especially when I use my Sony camera, my Sony a6300, the dynamic range is just so good on it that I can see the difference in quality and dynamic range, and it makes me want to have that dynamic range. That being said, it's not completely scaring me away. In the end, the reason why I'm probably not getting the Canon 6D Mark II is actually because the Canon store doesn't have it yet in Canada. And I'm actually a Canon Canada ambassador, which means I get a really nice discount on Canon gear. So I can't buy it, or I'd have to pay full price for it. Whereas the 5D Mark IV, I can get a beautiful discount on it right now. So there's a good chance when I get home to Canada, instead of the 6D Mark II, I'll be buying the 5D Mark IV. I have been in contact with Canon recently, trying to get my hands on a 6D Mark II while I'm in Canada to try to give it a bit of a review for you guys. So that might happen. It might not. We'll see. The next question comes from somebody that says, this might seem like a political question, but I'm wondering how the Muslim world seems to you. The Muslim world, to me, from an on-the-ground perspective, seems like an incredibly friendly place. I've never met friendlier people in the world than the Muslim countries I've been to. Turkey is probably top 3 friendly people. Kyrgyzstan, the people are incredibly friendly. I've traveled with girls in the Middle East in places like Oman. Oman was also really friendly, but they've had some issues. And I think being a female traveler in certain Muslim countries, Egypt, for example, is very difficult, I think, if you're a blonde-haired woman in certain instances. But overall, my experience and my personal experience has been that they've been extremely friendly. So I haven't had any issues, but I do understand that there are issues that exist, especially for women traveling in the Middle East. That being said, Kyrgyzstan in particular, I don't see any issue if you were a woman traveling in Kyrgyzstan. Women in Kyrgyzstan were treated with as much respect as the men, and yeah, it was fantastic. So next question, how did you keep your batteries charged on your hikes in Kyrgyzstan? 3 ways. 1, I think when you're a photographer that's been doing it for quite a while, you get very good at not shooting or overshooting. So you really know what to shoot, when to shoot, and you don't overshoot. And so you conserve batteries that way. 2, I have a lot of batteries. I have 3 Canon batteries. That'll definitely last me 3 days. For my Sony cameras, I have 4 batteries. And the only real issue then charging was the GoPro and my phone. And this is something I travel with everywhere. This is a power bank. And if you don't have a power bank, get one. This power bank is made by Anker and is like 20,000 mega amp hours or something like that, which means that I can charge my GoPro like 30 times. I can charge the Sony camera's batteries like 9 times. I can charge my phone like 9 times. So a power bank is brilliant. On the trip, it was a lifesaver. When I'm traveling, everywhere I go, I use a power bank. I'm never like searching for plugins to charge my phone or my GoPro or anything because I always have the power bank. So I'm going to put a link in the description of the video to this power bank. You can check it out there. If you don't have a power bank, get one. The next question kind of makes me laugh, and it's one I seem to get asked a lot. The question is, when do you want or plan to be done with travel photography and what's next? And I think this question's hilarious. And maybe it's not actually hilarious, but just a nature of how people view travel photography. I think a lot of people see travel photography as a hobby, as like maybe not a career that you would do your whole life. Everybody seems to kind of see it as something you're just gonna do for a couple of years and then be done with it and move on. Like you would never go into a doctor's office and have a chat with a doctor and be like, hey, when are you planning on being done with being a doctor? What are you gonna do after you're done being a doctor? You'd never go and talk to a lawyer and be like, hey, being a lawyer sounds awesome. What are you gonna do after you're done being a lawyer? Or how long do you plan on being a lawyer? But with travel photography, I think maybe because it seems like such a cool career, people have these questions. But for me, I plan on doing it forever. I plan on being a travel photographer. That's my career. So I don't know what comes next. I don't know if something comes next. I don't know how long I'll be a travel photographer, hopefully forever. At a young age, I learned that just because you have a career at some point doesn't mean you need to have that career your whole life. So if there's a point in my life I start hating travel photography or don't want to do it anymore, I'll find something else to do, but it's not in my plans at all. Next question comes from Mark, and it's a question I also get asked quite a bit. Is the travel photography industry too saturated a marketplace? And I think the answer is no. I think that right now there's more need for travel photography and travel photos than there ever has been. I think social media has a lot to do with that. Brands and tourism boards and everybody's kind of looking for the newest images from the newest locations, or even like just different images from really iconic locations. They always need new stuff right now, and there's a massive demand. So I don't think it's oversaturated. I just think that most people don't know how to get into the industry. That's the real challenge. And this is kind of a two-part question, because he's also asking, can somebody at my age, 41, start a travel photography career? And absolutely. Actually, most of the travel photographers I know started pretty late in their career, or they were doing some other career before and switched into travel photography. So I know quite a few people that started at age 30, at age 40, some even at age 50 and 55. So I don't think it's too late. I think it takes you maybe a year or two, maybe up to 3 years to really get established in the industry if you work hard. So age 40 is definitely not too late. Another question from my Facebook page from Wayne. When did you know that you were ready to provide photos to clients? The answer is I didn't. I started providing images to clients too early and provided images that probably weren't great. But you don't have to make the same mistake I did. You can use like critique communities. That's a great way. Find a photo critique community like my Facebook group and ask that question. Do you think my images are worthy of submitting to clients yet? And you'll get good answers. Another great indication is people start approaching you. So if you start getting emails and messages from your Facebook page or your Instagram feed or your gallery, then obviously you're probably pretty ready. But I do think that having a proper critique from other photographers is probably the best way. And that's where I think I started to really know that I was probably okay to start selling images or pitching clients, is because in the critique communities they were saying your images are ready. Second last question, how do you stay motivated and positive? You guys, I think. The YouTube channel really keeps me motivated. It really keeps me positive. It keeps me energized. The constant questions and compliments and engagement on the YouTube channel and the social media channels really keeps me like super positive and engaged and wanting to create new stuff. And I'm really thankful to you guys because of that. I'm also motivated by the world. Obviously, the world's such a cool place. How can you not be motivated when you're in places like Edinburgh and London to go out and shoot? It's not as hard to be motivated and energized when you're constantly in cool locations. Final question is the question I get asked more than anything. How do I back up my photos? Here's the answer. I have 3 hard drives, 3 external hard drives. One keeps RAW files, one keeps JPEG files, and one keeps both. So I kind of have them in 2 different places. And then just as a backup, so I don't lose all my images, I have everything backed up to the Amazon cloud, Amazon Drive. And I'll put a link in the description of this video to Amazon Drive as well. It's amazing. I paid $11.99 for a whole year for Amazon Drive. And you can upload RAW files or JPEG files, whatever you want, and there's unlimited storage. So go and get that and upload everything to it. The organization of it is pretty weak, but it's just nice to have that backup as a fail-safe in case you lose everything. That's how I back up external hard drives and the cloud with Amazon Drive. And my video files, I just delete them. Usually, to be honest, because most of the good stuff ends up in the videos anyway, which again, go on to my hard drives and onto Amazon Drive as well. So guys, that's it for today's episode and today's Q&A. Tomorrow, I don't really know what's happening, but I'm back here in London. I think I've got a lifestyle vlog here from London because I don't think I'm going to go shooting tomorrow, but the daily vlogs are coming back. There's been kind of time jumps recently just because I was so far behind, but the dailies are coming back. So tomorrow, lifestyle vlog, probably go shoot the solar eclipse on Monday when it happens. Then there's a meetup this week at some point as well. So lots of fun stuff coming up, and I guess I'll see you guys there. Peace.